Welcome back to ALPB Roundup. I'm Ryan here with part 2 of the Series Roundup for this week. We're talking about how every team across the Atlantic League could win the 2021 championship. We've already discussed the South Division. Now we're talking about the North. If you're like, but I didn't see the first part, don't worry. The sequel doesn't really depend on the original, but it's somewhere on the YouTube channel or Instagram, depending on where you're watching this. The Blue Crabs, they're going to be chasing the Ducks this entire time. So that's going to be the main focus of what we're talking about here. Then we got a couple long shots to follow things up. But just keep in mind that's going to be the main dynamic we're watching here and how the Rockers in the South Division are very involved. We'll start this simply by talking about the championship favorite across the entire league, the Long Island Ducks. According to our projection model, the Ducks are at the top of the food chain when it comes to who has the best odds to win this thing. The Ducks are currently 20-16 in the second half and 56-39 on the season. Terrific run by them. Their path to championship is as simple as can be. Take it easy before the playoffs. Line up Feldman, Iorio, Downs, and De Leon to pitch as they see fit. Go to the hot hand when you can. Look for the newcomer Scott Harkin to also possibly play a role in this because he has had a great start since joining the Ducks and getting into the rotation. From there, it's going to come down to making sure that their offense, which has had some struggles at points throughout the year, is hot when they need to be hot. And that's going to be especially true, by the way, because if they do run into the Blue Crabs pitching staff could be a problem depending on the kind of momentum they're bringing in. The projection model gives Long Island a 50% chance to make the championship series and a 26% chance of winning it. Those are both the highest odds across the league for those two things. We're going to travel from the northernmost team to the southernmost team in the North Division to see how the Blue Crabs sit with a golden opportunity to ruin things for the Ducks. The most straightforward path to the playoffs for Southern Maryland is just cutting into Long Island's game-and-a-half lead during their 3-game series this week. Unfortunately, the Ducks are hot as can be, having won 9 in a row entering this matchup in Southern Maryland. So if they can't find a way to win the division, Southern Maryland would need to hope that the Ducks do, because that will open up a wild card spot. They also will need to hope that the Rockers win the South Division, because the Rockers are well ahead of the Blue Crabs in the wild card standings. But that doesn't matter if the Rockers win the division. That way, that would put the Blue Crabs actually up with a solid lead in the wild card standings. I think they would have a 5-game lead at that point. So that would be the main path to success for the Blue Crabs, either knocking off the Ducks from the top or hoping the Ducks win and get in that wild card spot if it doesn't work out for them, maybe this week. Southern Maryland's pitching has become more and more consistent as the season has gone on, and they wield one of the best back ends of the bullpen across the entire league. The offense has shown signs of weakness and inconsistencies, but there's still some room for like a big explosion or just, if you got Daryl Thompson on the hill, you only need a few runs most nights. So it doesn't affect their projections too much. What is a concern, though, is that the starting rotation behind Thompson has really shown a lot of inconsistency. Guys who were hot for a while, have cold for a while. But if just 2 of Colton Mahoney, Sam Burton, Josh Roeder, Blake Bivens, or Carl Bryce, just 2 of them, enter the playoffs on a good stretch, that might be all the Blue Crabs need to make some noise in October. Projections give Southern Maryland a 49% chance to make the playoffs, a 24% chance to make the championship series, and a 12% chance to claim the title. Now, looking at the first real long shots of this video, we're talking about the York Revolution. York is at the bottom of the wildcard standings, sitting at 42-53. But parity in the North Division has them just 3.5 games behind the division leading Ducks, so they are very much in this thing. Now, the scheduling for the York Revs is very weird here. Follow me. They only have 8 series left to play, but they're still going to see all 7 teams from around the league during those 8 series. So, who are they playing twice? Well, by chance, it's the Long Island Ducks. York is going to need to cross their T's and dot their I's to pull 4 or 5 wins out of those 2 series against Long Island to position themselves to have a really good chance at the division, since the wild card's pretty much out of question here. If they can do that, projections say they're going to need about 15 wins other than those wins to have a good chance at a playoff berth. So 3 or 4 against Lancaster, 2 of 3 against Southern Maryland, that would be a must because being in their division, they're going to have to knock those teams off. Taking 2 of 3 from Gastonia seems reasonable. If they can win 5 of 9 games against Lexington, High Point, and West Virginia, that just might do it. So I sped through that, but break it down like this. If they can take 3 of 4 against Lancaster, 2 of 3 against Southern Maryland, 2 of 3 against Gastonia, and then find 5 out of their 9 games against Lexington, High Point, and West Virginia in the win column, the projections say they've got a very good chance, better than 50-50, to take the division. But they're going to have to handle their business in Long Island to even position themselves for that. So, or against Long Island. I actually don't even know if they're home or away. It's a blur. I've looked at so many schedules lately. York probably would hope Long Island is resting their best arms on the last weekend of the season when they're set to play again, but the Ducks are super unpredictable, but that could help the Revs in the long run here. It'll take consistency from an inconsistent starting rotation, careful bullpen deployment, and the offense staying healthy and making the most of their home games because they seem pretty comfortable there to make it work. The projection model only gives York a 7% chance to make the playoffs, a 5% chance to make it to the championship, and a 2% chance to win the title. However, if they manage to find 15 wins in these last 24-25 games, the model actually favors them more than anybody else. So that's what they got to do, it seems. Let's see if they can handle their business. Finally, we have the team that's on a 9-game losing streak at the worst time possible, the Lancaster Barnstormers. It's been hard to watch. The Barnstormers were in first just 10 days ago, hard to believe, but they proceed to drop 9 straight and find themselves in last place with a 14-21 second half record. That's 5.5 games out of the division lead, and a 44-51 record, which puts them 5 games out of the wild card and 9 games behind High Point if they should fall out of first place in the South. This means either path, though bad, is equally likely to work for Lancaster if the Rockers can win the division. So the path to victory for Lancaster is simple to say, but not simple to walk. They need to find consistent starters who can keep their high-powered offense in the game. This is what they're looking for. 5 or 6 innings, 5 or 6 runs. It sounds ridiculous, but that will be enough to keep the Barnstormers offense in most games. There's going to be games where you definitely want to give up only 3 or 4 runs there. But if you keep them under a touchdown, the Barnstormers offense has a chance. Now, of the 9 games remaining, the Barnstormers have 9 games remaining against Southern Maryland. 4 of them they have 4 games this week against York and 6 games straight against the Ducks in October. The Barnstormers will likely need to win 13 of those 19 matchups against their divisional opponents to have a shot at a playoff spot. Again, that's going to start this week with 4 games against York, and we're going to learn a lot about this Barnstormers team and how they bounce back. If the offense is hitting and the starting pitchers can just get to the bullpen where they have Moya and Schumann and some other arms who can be really good when they're well rested, that's the chance that the Barnstormers have. That's the only chance the Barnstormers have because they need a lot of things to break their way. To recap what they need to probably win 13 of 19 games against divisional opponents. They need to handle their business against the other teams not in the division. They need the Ducks to basically collapse because they need to beat them because they're well out of the wild card race at this point. Or if they are going to try to stay in the wild card race without managing to catch the Ducks, which is difficult because they're going to need wins from somewhere. It would be nice to beat the Ducks. They would need the Rockers to win the division in the South. So there's so many things that need to come in. Like, I can't keep them straight, obviously, what the Barnstormers need to win the division. But that's the best I've got. The projections give Lancaster a 6% chance to reach the playoffs, a 3% chance to reach the championship, and a 1% chance to win it at this point. All of those are league lows. That's going to do it for this 2-part series roundup. Lot to talk about, lot to watch, lots of great divisional matchups happening this week with playoff consequences. So we'll be watching it. Keep this in mind. I'll be updating the projection model as we go, letting you know what it's saying. And we will just enjoy a playoff race to the end here. Very soon, the Atlantic League will be the only indie ball league playing. So, lights are coming on, boys. It's time to go. I'm Ryan from LPB Roundup. Y'all have a good one.